There's a lot of damning stuff in this report.
Yes.
You know, a reasonable person could read this report and wonder why none of the cops were charged with anything, you know, and conclude that the cops got a pass. How would you, how would you respond to something like that?
Well, I guess that's the response that I've been giving you, for some time now. It's certainly not my wish to give any person who committed a crime a pass. And I think what you mean by a pass is no criminal charges filed. And the evidence has not been sufficient to file any criminal charge in any specific case. As far as a pass otherwise, I mean, what does that mean? I mean, this is, they're not getting a pass. I mean, this whole thing is now being put out in public, brought to light. People can see it, they can read the transcripts. Their jobs are in jeopardy. So, I'm not sure that's a pass.
Is the standard of proof higher for when it involves a police officer? Is the standard of proof higher?
No, the standard of proof is beyond a reasonable doubt. It's the same.
But to clarify, the case against the deputies, the case is closed and no one's been fined.
Well, that wouldn't exactly be correct. I don't think I said that the case is closed. I think what I did say is that that it's our intention to move on to other things, but I would be open to any additional evidence if there is some evidence. We're open to hear that and see how it fits in and see how credible it is. So it's not really case closed, but the answer, the first part of the answer, or second, I think it's the second part, yes, there has not been any criminal charge filed against any deputy.
What about the inmate who said that a deputy instigated the attack and he offered to take a lie detector test? Where is that reported? What happened with that?
Yeah, why didn't the grand jury believe him?
I'm just formulating the answer to that question. I'm a little slow, but let me get there. The person that you're talking about who said, and he's willing to testify, that he was told by Deputy Taylor that I think he said Deputy Taylor that John Chamberlain was in for either child molestation or possession of child porn. And I'm not sure specifically what he said on that. Okay, so he claims to be willing to testify on that, and I'm sure he is. He hasn't been particularly consistent in his statements. He's been inconsistent even about that. He said other things in his statements that are not credible, and so that's one thing. But the other thing is that as a person who is charged with the murder, he's an accomplice in that crime, and an accomplice has to be corroborated. You can't just bring a case based on the statements or testimony of an accomplice. He has to be corroborated by other independent evidence. And the other independent evidence can't be another accomplice. It has to be something else. And we don't have that.
I just want to go back to the issue of the deputies that were negligent and sleeping and playing video games and all that.
Yes.
They have not, as of this instant right now, none of them have lost their jobs. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Do you anticipate that they will lose their jobs?
All of those transcripts with all their names are presently being turned over to the acting sheriff.
Is it your understanding that they will lose their jobs? Based on conversations with the sheriff?
Well, no, I don't have any understanding as to the final disposition of the sheriff. Let me say this: that I'm going to wait for some time period, not particularly long, to see what happens there, and we're able to take additional action if we need to with the grand jury. So. We could go to the regular grand jury and seek accusations against individuals for wrongdoing in office or failure to perform their duties. And if we were successful in getting those accusations, the penalty would be loss of the office that that person's in.
Will you
Right
do
now,
that? Will
the
you do that
deputies
if those
are still
guys
on
aren't
payroll.
terminated?
I'm sorry, I got confused.
The deputies are still on the payroll.
I can't speak to that. I believe they are, but that's not. I wish I could answer that positively and say yes, they are. I think they are, but I'm not absolutely certain.
the sheriff does not dismiss these deputies who are guilty of laziness, neglect, and abandoning their duty, will you take accusation to the grand jury?
You know, I don't want to make any threats, Mr. Wellborn. I just want to, you know, give it a little time and see how it develops, but know that we do have that authority.
Would that wrongdoing, and you said wrongdoing in office and failure to perform duties, would that be a criminal grand jury? I mean, are those criminal offenses, or how does that work? Is it different?
It's not a criminal offense. It's something more like what you might call a quasi-criminal offense. The burden of proof is beyond a reasonable doubt. The person has the right to a jury trial. But if the jury agrees that this person was...
Is it a civil case?
Well, it's quasi-criminal because it's beyond a reasonable doubt. You know, and the rules of evidence are much more like a criminal case than a civil case. But the penalty is a rule.
Only for some time there's been accusations of inmate abuse over the years. Defense lawyers are complaining all the time. Does this indicate that maybe this is true, that there's abuse going on? How about the policies of Sheriff Crumb? Does this indicate that maybe he condones some kind of a...
I would not, I don't think I'd be able to speculate as to how far it goes back or how it might involve any individual case. All I can say is this investigation was very thorough, and it involved the death of one person, John Chamberlain, and it was a very thorough investigation into how that part of Theo Lacy jail was run. And that certainly leads me to believe that there was no supervision, no leadership, and it was very poorly run. And the inmates had a good deal of authority in keeping things in line, you might say, in the jail. So that's what it is. And I think that's completely unacceptable, and it needs to be changed.
Do they have that role in other jails? You know, shot callers and running the jails? The other ones? Yeah.
The question is, do they have that role in other jails and maybe even other places in the jail? Let me just say, you know, when I started seeing this language about shot callers and house mouse and radio guy, and I'm shocked by it. You know, this is not, you know, what I think of as the Orange County Jail. I mean, this is shocking to me. And so, you know, it's what I can tell you is that that's what our investigation revealed here in this place. And I think that, you know, it would be kind of foolish to say that it was isolated to this particular place. I mean, it's you know, it's very much appears to be embedded there. You know, so I mean, I couldn't say it was limited, but I couldn't say where else it might be taking place either.